Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and I'm so excited that you joined me today. For today's video, we're going to be doing a book haul. Now, this is not a big book haul. This is like a haul of like 20-ish books that I've accumulated over the past several months. I think the last book haul that I did was 3 months ago, which is great. I have been buying books though, but not in the quantity that I used to. So I will say a lot of these that I got on my trip when I visited Keisha and Jordan this past weekend, and a lot of them came from that trip. So I have been doing pretty good when it comes to book buying. But anyway, enough chatting, let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, the first book that I want to show you is Forgotten History, and this one is by Pam Hansen and Barbara Andrews. And I had a feeling that I had seen the name Barbara Andrews before, but I'm not really sure where. This is the first book in a Chesapeake Antiques mystery series, and again, if you guys know anything about me, you guys know that I love a good antique. And just the fact that this is an antique store mystery, and plus I've been really finding that these books that really nobody talks about are actually really good. So I'm going to try this one out and see if I like it. Kind of going in that same vein are some mysteries that, again, nobody is talking about, but I have found that I'm really liking these. So the first one is the second book in a series that I've been reading, and it's the Amish in Mystery series. This is called Plain Deception, and this is really hard to get a hold of. I think that this one, I just found it at my local used bookstore. I think that it's not even sold on Amazon. I think it's really hard to get your hands on, but I absolutely loved the first one, and I could not wait to get into the second one. I absolutely loved the first book in this series. It's basically following our main character who inherits an inn right in the middle of this Amish town, and she finds out that she's sharing her inn with this sewing shop. These characters are so quirky and they're so fun. It kind of reminds me of Stars Hollow in a way. So I'm really having a good time with this series and cannot wait to continue. While I'm talking about it, let me just talk about the next book, and it's Simple Lies. All of these books are written by different authors, which I kind of think is unique, but this is the third book in the Amish in Mystery series, and this one is Christmas themed. I should also mention that those have like little aspects of faith in them. I don't know if that's just from the Amish side or what, but I really like that. And in my local used bookstore, there's a whole section of those kinds of mysteries, and I found this one. It's not part of that same series, but this one's called Mummy's the Word, and it's #1 of the Museum of Mystery series. And look, it's like mummy themed, Egyptian themed, and I actually teach ancient Egypt, and we go into depth about mummies and pyramids and all that jazz, and I thought that this would be such a fun time. This next one I found in that same section, and it's called A Fatal Arrangement, and this one is book #1 in the Victorian Mansion Flower Shop mystery series. This one was just basically a cover buy, and it sounded very, very cute, and plus the little dachshund on the cover, I just love it. So hopefully I like these as much as the Amish in Mystery series. While we're talking about mysteries, let's just keep talking about mysteries. Let's talk about the 2 cozies that I recently bought. The first one is called Die Buying, and this one is by Laura Del Silvio, and this one is the first book in a mall cop mystery series. Does that not sound just like the most fun time? I really love Paul Blart Mall Cop, like that movie. Kevin James is so funny, and this one just reminds me of that, so I'm hoping it gives me all of those vibes. And the next book is actually a Goodwill purchase. I found this in my local Goodwill, which is really surprising. But this one is Murder Past Due, and this is by Miranda James. This is the first book in the Cat in the Stacks mystery series. I've heard really good things about this one. However, this book series is forever long, so I've really been intimidated to pick one up from this series, but I have heard really good things about it, and this cute little cat, I just couldn't leave him at the store, so we'll see. Next is a newer release, and it's called Near Misses and Cowboy Kisses, and this is by Katrina Amell. I heard about this one from my friend Keisha. She like told me about it, and I was like, you said Oregon Trail romance? You had me. I don't know a ton about this one. All I heard was Oregon Trail and romance, and I was hooked. So let me read you just a little bit of the synopsis. Riley Thomas is feeling stuck. She's moved from California to Nebraska. She's on a week-long Oregon Trail family bonding excursion, and her luggage is lost. There's no one her age on this trip except a tall, dark, and irksome cowboy who wrongly assumes she has zero ability to handle the great outdoors. And it's short. I'm excited. Next is another romance, and that is My Vampire Plus One, and this is by Jenna Levine. This is book number 2, or in the same universe as My Roommate is a Vampire, and I read that one last year. She released that one last year. I really liked it. It wasn't like anything super memorable or super great, but I really did like it, and I really did like how quirky the vampire was. So I'm hoping that this one is just as quirky and just as fun. So I think this one follows 2 characters that we met in the first book. I feel like you should probably read that one before you read this one. At least that's what I would do. So I just looked, and yes, the 2 characters in the first book are getting married. And these guys are going to their wedding. So you need to read that one first. Yes. You know, I could not have a book haul without a Darcy Coates book on it. If you've been around even for a minute, okay, you probably know by now that I am really quickly loving Darcy Coates, and I could not have a book haul without Darcy Coates on it. So here's the first Darcy Coates I have to show you, Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. This one is probably the most creepiest synopsis that I've read by her. This one is basically about this creature man, serial killer that's called the Stitcher, and when he kills his victims, he tears their body apart and sews them back together. Yeah. Then another Darcy Coates I've got is Craven Manor by Darcy Coates. Guys, I don't really even know what all of these Darcy Coates are about. I just know that she does really well with that whole haunted house vibe. I think that she does one of the best interpretations of paranormal aspects that I have personally read. I really like to be scared, and I really like how her books really just kind of spook me. So I'm assuming that this one is about a haunted manor, and I'm just here for that. And then this next book comes with a little bit of a story. So when I visited Keisha and Jordan this past weekend, we went to Franklin, Tennessee, which is a little town. And in this little town, it has this cute little bookstore called Landmark Booksellers. And I did not know this when we were walking in, but that bookstore is the same bookstore that The Bridge is based on by Karen Kingsbury. And that book absolutely wrecked me so hard to my core. I didn't know, but The Bridge is based off of this bookstore that we went to in Franklin, Tennessee. Oh my gosh, I was so excited when I found that out. And even better, the owners were there, and Karen Kingsbury actually based her characters off of the owners. And so it was the old man and woman who were in the book, and I was just screaming. And we actually got to take a picture with him and actually talk to him, and he kind of went over some things with the book, kind of like whether they happened or not. There were some things that he wouldn't disclose just because he wanted us to have our own interpretation of it. But he was so nice, and I knew I couldn't leave that bookstore without buying something. And so obviously I ended up buying a Karen Kingsbury book. I was with my friend Jordan, and she really recommends this series. This is the Baxter series, I believe. This is book number 1 called Redemption. All I know about this one is that it's about a woman who finds out that her husband is having an affair, and so she ends up having to go back to her old hometown, and things happen from there. And I think that this one is going to have a great representation of hope and faith, and I cannot wait to dive into this one, except I'm a little nervous because I know Karen Kingsbury likes to pull on the heartstrings and likes to pull on the tear ducts. So hopefully not too much, Karen. This next book is courtesy of my friend Keisha because she didn't want it and I wanted it. And that is called Ghost a la Mode, and this one's by Sue Ann Jafarian, and this is book number 1 in a Ghost of Granny Apple's mystery series. And guys, I don't know about you, but it has a ghost in it. It's got apple pie. Guys, I cannot stress to you how much that this is just me wrapped in a book. I love books about ghosties. I love books about baking. So hopefully it has both of those elements. This next one is a courtesy of my friend Jordan. She's so sweetly gifted this one to me, and that is Verily Sincerely Yours by Carrie Winfrey. I have read a Carrie Winfrey book before. I read Faking Christmas. Oh, and I've also read Just Another Love Song and also really liked that one. This one is apparently giving You've Got Mail meets Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a good, cozy, fun time. So also while I was visiting Keisha and Jordan, I met up with another friend, and her name's April, and she is on Bookstagram, and she's in my community for Comfy Cozy, and she went book shopping with us, and she recommended this author, and I kind of talked to her about this author because I had another book by this author and hauled it, and she was like, no, I think you should try one because her writing is just very cozy and funny, and she had me right there. So this one is called Can't Wait to Get to Heaven Women by Fanny Flagg. And I think that Fanny Flagg has this group of older women throughout her stories, so I'm really excited about that. So it just seems very cozy and very sweet and wholesome. The next book I picked up is The Ministry of Time by Colleen Bradley. And I picked this up for a certain reason, for a certain book club. Not mine, but I cannot disclose the information to you yet, but just kind of keep your eyes peeled for this one. The next book I picked up was The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I recently read Murder Road by Simone St. James and talked about it in a video, and I don't remember exactly who left the comment, but somebody was like, look, you need to try more Simone St. James. If you liked Murder Road, you've got to try more by her. And apparently Simone St. James does really well with paranormal aspects, which again is one of my favorite aspects in books, and that's really all I needed to know. So this is probably the start of my Simone St. James journey. And last but certainly not least is a classic that I feel like everybody has read but me, and that is Water for Elephants, and this is by Sarah Gruen. I have heard so many people in my community, in the community in general, talk about how this is their favorite book of all time. You cannot make a statement like that and then me not want to read it. Plus, I really like circus elements in books, so I have a feeling that this one is going to be very circusy, and I hope so. And there you have it, my friends. That is my short little book haul that I had for you today. Hopefully you got some good recommendations. I don't know if any of these are good because I've not read them, but hopefully if you've read them, you let me know if they're good or not, because I will definitely try to get to them soon. And if you made it this far into the video, my friends, go ahead and leave me an elephant for Water for Elephants. And until next time, my friends, remember this world is a better place with you in it, and I love you so much, and I will see you on my next video. Bye, guys.